Patreon Q&A number 60, part 2. Part 1 was released earlier today. I want to thank all 76 of my incredible, overpowered, outrageously beautiful patrons. Guys, you know I love you so much. I can't thank you enough for the support that you give me. And to everyone else listening, there's going to be spoilers in these questions and answers, so tread carefully. Wolf Pup, the number 1 patron, the most powerful of them all, asked, "Howdy Shonen, what you think about my boy Daedric Genos and his overall character design? I think it's amazing and I love it. I loved it before, but after I really got to see it on display in chapter 120, I'm all on board with it. It's like so aesthetically pleasing. It's definitely my favorite Genos form, and it's one of my favorite Murata character designs so far, easily. And my last question is, who do you think Genos will use his 10-second Kamehameha Blast, and why? I think he will use it on Monster King Orochi if one will bring him up later. Your thoughts?" So, it's either going to be a Kamehameha, which is likely because, you know, Genos is usually associated with blasts and stuff, or it's going to be like a 10-second Kaioken. Either, I'm fine with either, but it's probably going to be a Kamehameha, or Kamehameha. So, Orochi coming back, it is possible. You know, I did talk about what Murata said and everything, and if it is true, then it is likely that he could come back for a little bit. And then if he does, then that would be Genos' big win. That would be his big moment, his big redemption, something that doesn't really get in the webcomic portion of this arc. Now, given that that's, you know, we're just taking a guess with that, if we're being like super realistic about it and not leaving too much to chance, he's likely going to use it to save Tatsumaki, because that's like his last saving feat in the webcomic before he's completely useless. So maybe he does whatever he can do in this 10-second full power thing, and then just, you know, I don't think he's going to destroy them or kill anyone, because that wouldn't line up with what happened in the webcomic. But maybe he just damages them or hurts them enough to where that is saving Tatsumaki, like Fura Ugly, Black S, Evil Natural Water. Maybe he does something that hurts all of them collectively, like really damages them. And then he's done after that. That's all I can really see happening for Genos right now. Unless they just straight up alter the story to favor him, which is possible, but we haven't really seen anything like that happen yet. Paxson D asks, "Hey Shonen, hope you're feeling better this week." I actually am. I got over whatever I was having. It usually happens around this time, you know, when the weather drastically changes. Like it's 60 and 70 one week, and the next week it's just 30, and then I'm just have a cold for some reason. You've been making awesome content this week. Hey, thank you. I've been trying, but I feel like I've been struggling, and it's been subpar, but I appreciate that. But I'm not as convinced on your Drive Knight theory as you are. My main problem is that Drive Knight just left Boros' ship and let Metal Knight have it. Surely he would have found something useful in that ship, even dissecting Boros or Garugan ship. So that's an interesting, but I don't think him leaving Boros' ship necessarily means that he's not evil. And also, if you go back to that whole sequence, Drive Knight, when he's talking to Genos, and he's like, "Yeah, this is pretty much done. I have business to attend to." Something, I'm paraphrasing. He says something like that. So I think that's adding to his suspiciousness, because he specifically says, like, "I have something I need to do. I'm leaving. I have business." So what is that business? Why did he have to leave at that specific time? Why did he wait for the thing to be over? You know, what was going on there? You know, that raises a lot of red flags in my opinion. Or maybe he just didn't feel that he wanted to expose himself to being interested in Boros' ship and that stuff. Maybe that would raise red flags to the other heroes around him. And also, he was already just trying to set up Metal Knight to Genos. So I feel like maybe he just needed to go do his own thing. And maybe he just wasn't interested in Boros' ship. I mean, granted, now, in hindsight, what we know about him seems like he would be. But maybe at that time he had an ulterior motive. And I like that you're not convinced on my theory. I like that this is a polarizing topic. I don't want everyone to just be like, "Yeah, Drive Knight's evil, Metal Knight isn't," you know, blah, blah, blah. I like that there is variety to this, and there's a variety of opinions. My next question is, what do you think could have happened if Drive Knight did actually dissect Boros? Meteoric Drive Knight. Anyway, enjoy the week. Get better for us, dude. Hey, I'm better. Thank you, Haxon, for the support and the kind words, my friend. So, we're really going to have to see what happens with Neon. If what he is saying is true, then it seems like he's going to make a biological replica. That's mainly what he said. So it seems like maybe he can replicate Neon. Maybe he can replicate Boros as well. And maybe he can, you know, pull, like I was theorizing, maybe he could pull that thin ability, that 3mm thickness ability out of Neon and apply it to himself. That would be insane. But then the whole meteoric burst thing, that's a whole different animal, because there's a lot of energy and a lot of power that goes behind that. And I don't think Drive Knight has that. Even what we've seen in his gold form, and given how quickly he gassed out by just taking out Neon, I don't think that's coming close to the type of energy and power that we saw with Meteoric Burst. And also, going into that form is, I don't even know if you can, like, quantify that, really. It's something like, I think, inherent to Boros' race. Now, anything can happen, of course, in the world of One Punch Man, but it's really more so not the act of gaining that form, but powering it. Now, could he have, like, a nerfed version? Sure, why not? But, like, man, the power that was generating the Meteoric Burst was capable of destroying the Earth. Now, right now, it doesn't seem like Drive Knight is capable of that. Ravtav asks, Shonen, my boy, I made a Patreon just for you. Your videos extend my lifespan. Hey, thanks, Ravtav. I really appreciate that, and I thank you that you have finally decided to come and support me on Patreon. It really does mean a lot. Thank you for the kind words. My question I've got for you is, knowing that many monsters are created due to a spontaneous cell reaction caused by overwhelming emotion, do you think there are any protagonist/primary characters in the story at the moment that could end up undergoing this same transformation in later arcs? And if so, why? Is it more likely that they'd undergo the more drawn-out process that Garo went through to become a monster, or do you think that was specific to Garo? If it wasn't, for the theory that he's already some kind of monster, I will put my money on my mask. You're a magnificent creator, and I'm always excited to see what you think about with the questions the fans ask you. Can't be spoiled, so spoil away. Hey, thanks again, Ravtav. So I don't think that is unique to Garo. Given that the instance of it happening, that is specific to Garo, the timeline of it. But I don't think Garo is the only being that could happen to. I think if you were to replicate his experience and what he's gone through to other people, they could probably do the same thing. Given how things seem to be relative in the world of One Punch Man, like this whole power that's out there, anybody can essentially tap into it and gain it. So I feel like, so other people could go through what Garo is as well. And I do think My Mask is probably on the same path as Garo, if not already being a monster. Like, that's the big question about My Mask. It's like, is he already a monster? Was he able to do what Hellfire and Gale were and just revert to his human form but then tap into his monster ability? Or is he on the opposite end of the spectrum and is he becoming a monster? Because I think it really could be either or at this point. I don't think My Mask is just straight up 100% a human. I mean, of course he's not. We saw what happened to him against Evil Natural Water. That's not a human ability. You can't just pick up... Even in the world of One Punch Man, that's not a human ability. You can't pick up your arm or reattach it. You can't survive getting shot through the chest, no problem. Well, Pig God did, but he's a whole different story. But there's definitely something going on with My Mask, and the money is right. I put my money on him too. And then the other people that I think could probably go through a transformation similar, at least not in that context, but the context of the spontaneous cell reaction caused by overwhelming emotion, Tank Top Master. So he says that he's going to train or retrain or figure out a different way to train. He's essentially going to figure out a way to get more powerful. It's possible that he becomes so obsessed, especially with like the tank top, and like seeing like, is the tank top powerful? Is it not powerful? Like, maybe he becomes so obsessed with the tank top that he just monstrifies or something like that. Maybe that causes his explosion of negative emotions and causes his cellular reaction. Something is going to happen with Tank Top Master. For sure, he was focused on in Chapter 107. And just taking a guess, I think it's possible that something like that could happen, especially all the resentment that he has towards, like, Tatsumaki and just the other people being more powerful than him. Steven asked, "Qu'est-ce qui se passe, mi mec?" I know you love hearing me butcher these foreign greetings that you give me, but I love it, Steven. How do you imagine a war with Neo Heroes would actually end? Mutual destruction, the Neo Heroes win? Since it's won, I'm half expecting the fighting to be interrupted with everyone going to jail for aggravated assault or attempted murder, because really, it's both hilarious and ridiculous that Marvel superheroes can try to kill each other in crowded cities and no one ever brings up that it's just a fancy gang violence. Have a great week, dude. Hey, you too, Steven. And that is funny. I mean, what are they really going to do? How do you put, like, gods in jail when you're, like, essentially, like, just normal mortals are the jailers? Same thing's probably going to happen in the world One Punch Man, but I was talking about this earlier, and I think the war will be either ended by two things. Either Blast and Saitama, like, have this crazy Dragon Ball Z battle, and everyone just stops to watch it, and then the result of that fight will be like, oh, maybe we should just stop fighting because Saitama is God, and we can't beat him. Something like that might happen. Or Black S is going, because Black S seems to be like the monster that's slowly and quietly being built up at this point since he's trying to regain his cell stock. Now, of course, I think Black S is either going to become a good guy or a bad guy, but in the instance that he becomes a bad guy, I think he's going to become so powerful that he's like stronger than Golden S, comes like Platinum or Diamond S or whatever, and then they all have to team up to take him down. Like, if that doesn't even happen, I think there's probably going to be a mutual threat that they have to where they're going to have to work together, and then them working together, taking down that big guy is going to be like, okay, we did it. Let's just not fight. Let us just team up because we're all humans in the end. We're all against the monsters, so let's work together. There's no reason to keep going against each other. Yonatan G asks, hello, Shonen, my question this time is, do you think 30-year-old Bang could have defeated Tatsumaki? And was he faster than Flashy Flash? I think he could have give Tatsumaki a good fight and maybe even win, but about the speed, I don't know. So yes, this is difficult to answer because, man, with Prime Bang, it's just all speculation, honestly. But let's try to backtrack. So given how he went against an Esper in Psychos, so Psychos was able to hold Abandonment Bang still. You know, we don't really know how long she could have held him, but she held him enough so that he could be hit by Homeless Emperor's bombs. So if Prime Bang is just as powerful as Abandonment Bang in his 80-year-old form, just as his base level, then it's not looking too good for him against Tatsumaki. But if he is stronger than that, and he's like close to Awakened Garo power, which is really giving him a lot. Like, if we're being really generous with him, if we're just saying Prime Bang is as powerful as Awakened Garo, then he'll be competitive against Tatsumaki. But given how Abandonment 80-year-old Bang fared against Psychos' power, just doesn't seem too good. Just taking a guess, of course. And as for his speed, I don't think he's as fast as Flashy Flash. Now, he was pretty fast against Fear Ugly and Gums, but I don't think that was as fast as Flashy Flash, and I don't think he's as fast as Awakened Garo. There would be way more of an emphasis put on his speed. Now, if we're just talking about mobility, yeah, he's not as fast as Flashy Flash. But his reflexes probably are. He seems to be, like, ultra fast in that department. Way more faster than he is just from a mobility range. So I assume that maybe his reflexes are on the level of Flashy Flash. Maybe once he goes into Abandonment, and then if we're kind of, like, backtracking Abandonment to his Prime, then yeah, maybe Prime reflexes are as fast as Flashy Flash. But it's hard to say if his mobility could be, because that's being way too generous as well. Legandaryus asks, hey Shonen, I was wondering if Green Lantern beings could harm Devil Fruit users since Haki is translated to willpower in English, and Green Lanterns use willpower to create constructs made of willpower. So I'm going to say for sure the Green Lanterns could defeat probably anyone in the One Piece world, regardless of Haki or Devil Fruits or anything, just because DC, the whole power scale there is, like, absurd. It's unfair. And I think it's unfair to compare, like, Marvel and DC characters, especially, like, the more powerful cosmic ones, to manga characters, because typically manga doesn't go as extreme as that. And I get it, you know, because they have a whole lineage and, you know, it started with Superman and it just had to get more ridiculous after that. But I guarantee the Green Lanterns could probably overcome the whole entire One Piece world, no problem. Just taking a guess, given the insane power that they're capable of and how tamed One Piece seems compared to them. Also, what excuse do you think Saitama will come up with as a new goal for Genos when he reaches the top 10 of the S-Class? So I know this is going to happen, and I guarantee that Saitama's just going to be like, become number 1 now. It's not even going to be like top 5, it's just going to be go straight to number 1. And then I think Genos will probably become number 1 in the S-Class, or at least I think that would be a fitting ending for Genos. It would be a cool thing for him to happen. And then, of course, him defeating the Mad Cyborg, whoever that may be. Maybe it's Drive Knight, maybe it's himself. I'll talk about that in another video, but as for Saitama becoming S-Class number 1, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. That's another video for another time. But I do think he will for sure give him the goal of becoming number 1 in the S-Class. That is coming. Martin G91 asks, I hope you're feeling better. I've had a better week than the previous one. I'm having a much better week, and I do feel a lot better. Thank you for asking, Martin. Have you ever heard of the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher, the Wild Card series by George R.R. Martin, and Uber Comics by Kyrion Gillen? If you haven't, I encourage you to go to their Wikipedia page or TV Tropes page and check them out. So I haven't heard about them except the Dresden Files, and that's only because I remember it was a TV show when I was a kid, and then I checked it out, but it was in fact a TV show. in the mid-aughts, and then it got canceled, unfortunately. But that's the only thing I heard of it. But then I looked it up, and it does have a pretty interesting premise, which is funny because he's a wizard named Harry, so give that for what you will. I'm sure this came out before Harry Potter, so there's no real correlation. But it's like a kind of like a detective type dude that goes into supernatural occurrences in Chicago. I think that's an interesting concept. I'm not really into like books and stuff like that, but I genuinely do think it is an interesting concept. But the thing that I really think is interesting is the Wild Card series, which I've never heard of, but the whole premise of it, how it's like a collection of it's a collection of anthologies in a shared superhero universe. I think that's super interesting. I didn't even know that was a thing that people did, but I think that's really cool. And also, it's very similar to Uber, the other one that you're mentioning here, where it's like post-World War II, and essentially a superhuman society is coming out of that. I think that's all cool, but not really too much into like reading and books and stuff like that. Mainly because I'm stupid, and I just like to watch stuff, and I already read enough manga as it is. But I do think that stuff is cool. I probably won't get into it, but I appreciate you having me check it out for sure. If the One Punch Man world suddenly combined with another manga/anime series, which one would best complement One Punch in terms of its characters not being too overpowered or underpowered? Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, The Gray Man, One Piece, My Hero Academia, Yu Yu Hakusho. So I think Yu Yu Hakusho it would actually be the best companion. My Hero Academia is not powerful enough, but I think Yu Yu's right there. Like, their characters, especially towards the end of the series, and even towards, like, the end of Chapter Black, are right around the sweet spot where they're kind of competitive with the powerful One Punch Man characters. Or at least kind of, more or less. And then the whole dynamic that Yu Yu has, with, the demons crossing over into, our world, and then the apparitions and all of that stuff, it fits right in with monsters, right? It's essentially the same thing, except it's not so more like a public as it is in One Punch Man. Like, you kind of need to be in the know to understand the apparition and supernatural stuff in Yu Yu Hakusho, but I think if they combined, it would just give another level to the whole monster threat, and there would be the surface level for the heroes, and then the supernatural level for the spirit detectives. We're essentially heroes, So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Once again, I want to thank all 76 of my amazing, overpowered, beautiful patrons. Guys, you know I love you. Thank you so much for everything, and if you would like to be in next week's Q&A, just simply check out my Patreon. $5 tier will give you access to this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.